My name is Lauren Callahan, and I'm 39 years old. On paper, I'm the kind of woman loan officers relax around and HR departments call a safe bet. Stable job, clean credit, no messy drama that can be captured in a spreadsheet. I work in strategic consulting for a Fortune 500 company. My whole professional life is about constraints and trade-offs. People come to me with impossible timelines, bloated dreams, and half-baked strategies, and I turn all of that into something that might actually work in the real world. I don't do miracles. I do risk mitigation, contingency planning, and uncomfortable truths dressed up in clean slide decks. For a long time, my personal life looked just as neat as my project plans. I lived in a 2-bedroom apartment with my boyfriend, technically my fiancé, Ethan Rivers. We'd been together 3 years. Engaged for 6 months. The lease was in my name. The utilities were on autopay from my account. He handled the budget, the grocery list, the boring stuff. Ethan handled Spotify playlists, craft cocktail experiments on Friday nights, and charming my colleagues at holiday parties. We both worked at the same company, but in different worlds. I was in strategic consulting. Ethan was in marketing. He loved words like brand synergy and viral engagement. I liked words like margin, timeline, and risk. Here's what you need to know. About 8 months ago, Ethan's ex-girlfriend transferred from our Miami office to ours. Her name was Rebecca Lee. 38. Sharp cheekbones, sharp smile, and sharper ambition. She landed in the Western Region marketing team. Ethan swore it was just coincidence. Lauren, it's not a big deal, he said the night she appeared in his LinkedIn notifications and then our office hallway in the same week. We dated years ago. We're adults. It's totally professional. Cool. Whatever. I didn't scream. I didn't accuse. I watched. You learn a lot in consulting when you shut up and observe the patterns. Last Tuesday morning, the real story began. I was in the kitchen, already showered, already mentally rearranging my day around a 10 a.m. client call, when Ethan slid up behind me and wrapped his arms around my waist. Morning. Future VP, he murmured into my neck. He said it like a joke, but we both knew it wasn't. The promotion had been hinted at. Western Division, Vice President of Strategic Operations. It wasn't official yet, but the whispers were loud enough. I poured coffee into my mug. Morning. Future my fiancé's +1 at every corporate event. He laughed, grabbed his own mug, and leaned against the counter. So, don't freak out. Okay, that's never a good opener. I raised an eyebrow. You know that phrase has the opposite effect. Right. He blew on his coffee. I have to go to Denver next week. Huge client presentation. Western Region Marketing's spearheading it. So, Rebecca will be there too. He watched my face carefully. The way you watch a ticking timer on a bomb. It's strictly professional. He rushed on. You know how these trips are. Windowless conference rooms. Stellaire. 15 versions of the same PowerPoint. It's work. Lauren. I buttered my toast, slowly, buying myself a second to smooth the spike of irritation in my chest when I asked, leave Thursday morning. Back Sunday night. He took a sip. Eyes still on me. We've been prepping with Patterson for months. This could be huge for my team. Patterson. One of our biggest accounts. The kind of name that changes careers. I nodded. Need a ride to the airport. He blinked. You're okay with this? Why wouldn't I be? I met his eyes. Calm. It's work. Right. His shoulders dropped in visible relief. He stepped forward, kissed my cheek. His voice soft. You're the best. Seriously. Some women would get so weird about this. Yeah, I said lightly. Some women would. He didn't see my hands tighten just a little on the knife, because here's the thing I already knew about Denver. Not the sanitized, corporate version. The real one, 3 nights earlier. His laptop had frozen while he was streaming some dumb show, and he'd asked me to take a look. I worked my way through his cluttered desktop, his overflowing inbox, and then into his trash folder. That's when I saw it. Ritz-Carlton, Denver. 1 room, king bed. Late checkout Sunday. Booked 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks before this urgent meeting even existed. The reservation was under his name, but both names were on the confirmation. Ethan Rivers. Rebecca Lee. Something in my chest went very still. I could have confronted him then. I could have thrown the laptop at him. Demanded answers. Screamed. Cried. Called my mom. Called my best friend. Packed a bag. Instead, I closed the email, fixed his laptop, and handed it back. Thanks, Bob, he'd said, not looking up from the TV. You learn a different kind of patience in corporate. How to let people walk themselves into their own destruction while you document everything. Here's the kicker he didn't know yet. I wasn't just some mid-level consultant in a cube farm. I was about to be announced as VP of Strategic Operations for the Western Division. That role included oversight of all regional departments, including marketing, including Ethan's team. The promotion was supposed to be announced Monday. The day after he got back from Denver, Thursday morning, Ethan kissed me goodbye at the front door. Suitcase at his feet. Text me when you get there, I said, straightening his collar. He grinned. I'll send you pictures of boring conference rooms. And stale coffee, I added, and sad pastries. We both laughed. It sounded almost normal. I love you, he said, squeezing my hand. Love you too, I replied. And I meant it. In a complicated, bruised way, he walked down the hall, whistling, rolling his suitcase behind him. The door shut. The apartment was suddenly beautifully quiet. I stood there for a long moment, fingers resting on the deadbolt, listening to the echo of his steps fade. Then I grabbed my keys and went to work. Bejeving 0 a.m. I had done 3 things. 1, I submitted my resignation. Effective Friday. A clean, polite email appreciation for opportunities. Standard notice language. A brief line about accepting a new challenge. The response from HR came back in 6 minutes. Shock disguised as boilerplate. 2. I forwarded the Ritz-Carlton receipt to Ethan's work email. Subject line: Thought you might need this for your expense report. No emojis. No accusation. Just the PDF attached. Sitting there like a live grenade in his inbox, waiting for him to open it somewhere 2 time zones away. 3. I formally accepted an offer from Apex Solutions, our biggest competitor. We'd been talking for 2 weeks. I'd been leaning toward staying put, taking the promotion, keeping my life as calm and predictable as my color-coded calendar. Then, I found that hotel reservation. Apex wasn't just offering a step up, it was a leap. Senior VP of Market Strategy. 40% raise. Equity. A seat at the table where real decisions were made. Not just where slide decks were presented. And there was more. Apex had just acquired two of our company's biggest accounts, including Patterson. Ethan's precious Patterson. Our current company's marketing team, Ethan's team, had been salivating over their projected bonuses at Apex. The Patterson account would be under my umbrella. I signed the offer letter, hit send, and watched the digital confirmation pop up on my screen. Some people think revenge is shouting, breaking things, dramatic exits in the rain. They don't understand the quiet satisfaction of a well-timed email. Around noon, my current CEO called an urgent meeting with the executive team. I wasn't in the room. But whispers travel fast in offices like ours. Bidva. Per. M. Everybody knew I'd resigned. Bitship pe. M. Word was circulating that the VP promotion was being put on hold indefinitely. Bichtere pe. M. I got an email from finance. Marketing would now be reporting directly to the CFO until further notice. And there would be a review of their budget. I swiveled my chair toward the window and looked down at the city. Somewhere, Ethan was probably sitting in a plane or a cab, thinking he'd pulled off the perfect balance, safe fiancé at home. Adrenaline hit out of town with his ex. He thought he understood the game, but he'd forgotten something important. I don't do miracles. I do consequences. And by the time his plane landed in Denver, they were already in motion. Friday morning. 9:15 a.m. My phone buzzed with a text from Ethan. Why is there an email from you with a hotel receipt? I sipped my coffee, glanced at the time, and typed back. Thought you might need it for expenses. 10 seconds later. What are you talking about? This must be some mistake. Another ping. Loren. This isn't what it looks like. I smiled, leaned back in my chair, and watched the messages roll in like an incoming tide. Rebecca must have booked it wrong. We have separate rooms. I swear. Please answer me. This is serious. Lauren. Call me. 18 missed calls in 10 minutes. I didn't answer a single one. Adzeche 0 a.m. My now former CEO called an emergency meeting. The VP position, the one I'd been in line for, was officially on hold. Marketing would report directly to the CFO, a notorious hardliner famous for slashing budgets 30% on site. The room, I was told later, had been silent. Ethan's team was already panicking. Meanwhile, over at Apex, my new boss, Harrison King, called to confirm my start date for Monday. His tone was all business, but I could hear the faint smile behind it. You ready for a busy first week? Lauren, always. I said. Good. You'll oversee the integration of Pinnacle Marketing's West Coast operations. I froze for half a second. Pinnacle Marketing. Yeah. We just finalized the acquisition. You'll be reviewing their staff, deciding who stays on board. My heart gave a small, cold twist of satisfaction. Pinnacle Marketing, the same firm Ethan and Rebecca had been eyeing for their next big transfer. The one Rebecca had bragged about over wine to Ethan's friends. Pinnacle's partnering with Apex soon, she'd said. All confident smiles and secret plans. It'll be perfect timing for us. She had no idea how perfect. Thursday night. Ethan called from Denver. The background noise sounded like a bar music. Clinking glasses. Laughter muffled behind his voice. Hey, Bob, he said, too casually. Presentation went great. Rebecca had brilliant insights on the Patterson account. I turned off the TV. keeping my tone light. That's wonderful. How's the hotel? A pause. Just long enough to taste the lie. Oh. You know, standard corporate thing. Beige carpets. Bad lighting. Nothing special. Get some rest. I said, love you. Love you too. He said quickly. Talk soon. I hung up and went back to packing up my office. Friday morning. 9:15 a.m. He must have finally opened that attachment. By 9:20. The text started again. Lauren. I can explain. It's not what it looks like. Rebecca booked it by accident. By 9:30. My phone was ringing nonstop. By 9:40. My building security called to say a man was pacing outside the front desk, trying to talk his way upstairs. I smiled faintly. Tell him I'm not available. Atunci 10 a.m. I got a call from Harrison again. Ready for Monday, he asked. Absolutely. Good. And, just so you're aware, you'll be overseeing the Pinnacle integration personally. That includes all regional marketing directors. I stared out the window, my reflection faint against the city skyline. Including Rebecca Lee, I asked. Careful. Including everyone. Harrison said. Your call who stays and who goes. When I ended the call, I laughed softly into the quiet. Not the cruel kind of laugh, just the disbelieving kind, the one that comes when karma writes your schedule for you. Saturday. Ethan came home early. He let himself in with his key. Suitcase in one hand. Guilt written all over his face. Lauren. We need to talk. He said, the second he saw me. I didn't look up from the box I was taping shut. No. We don't. He dropped the suitcase. You don't understand. Oh. I understand perfectly. I said. You said it was work. That it just happened to include your ex and a king bed at the Ritz-Carlton that was booked weeks ago. His face went pale. You went through my emails. You left your laptop open. That's invasion of privacy. I straightened. Tape gun still in hand. And you had no right to screw your ex while wearing my ring. He flinched. I didn't screw her yet. The word hung there like a rotten fruit. He swallowed hard. Eyes darting. Maybe I should have. Rebecca appreciates me. She doesn't treat me like a project to manage. I stared at him for a long moment. My voice dropped to a whisper. You're right. She treats you like a side piece. His mouth opened to argue, but I cut him off by holding out my phone. Screen glowing, with an Instagram post. Rebecca's husband. I said quietly. Michael Lay. Wedding photos. Baby announcement last month. Cute kid. He blinked at the screen. Confusion. Giving way to dawning horror. She told me they broke up. I tilted my head. Schocker. A cheater lied. He sat down on the edge of the couch. Hands in his hair. I'm such an idiot. Yeah. I said softly. You are. Silence stretched between us. The kind that hums with everything unsaid. After a while, he looked up. Can we work through this? I already signed a lease elsewhere. I said, movers come Monday. His expression crumpled. But that's when your promotion. I resigned. I said, you what? Yesterday. Took a better offer. He blinked. Where? Epic Solutions. The color drained from his face. You're going to work for them. Senior VP of Market Strategy. I said, start Monday. His lips moved. but no sound came out. Finally, Rebecca and I were transferring to Pinnacle next month. They're partnering with Apex. I finished for him. Yeah, I know. He just stared at me. Eyes wide. Voice cracking. You'll be my boss. Eventually. I said, packing another box. For now, I'm overseeing the integration, evaluating who's worth keeping. He sank down, staring at the floor. You planned this. I sealed the box with a clean line of tape. No, Ethan. You planned a romantic getaway with your married ex. I just accepted a job offer. He stared at me, jaw tight, voice small. This is revenge. This is me, moving on. I said quietly, you should try it sometime. When I finally looked up, he was standing in the doorway, eyes shining with something between anger and fear. Loren, he said. You're vindictive. Careful, I murmured. I'll be evaluating Pinnacle's transfers soon. Wouldn't want any past conflicts to affect professional decisions. He stared at me for a beat, then turned and left. The door slammed. I exhaled slowly. Let the silence fill the room again. Then I smiled, not because I was happy, because the storm had finally started and I was the only one holding an umbrella. Update 1 Monday. 11:23 a.m. Let me answer some of the questions I know people would ask if this were a story someone else told. Yes. I'd had the Apex offer for 2 weeks. Yes. I'd planned to turn it down until I found the hotel receipt. No. I didn't confront Ethan right away because I wanted to see how far he'd take the lie. And yes, I kept screenshots of everything. Always keep documentation. That's the consultant in me. Monday. 11:00 a.m. The office I used to work in buzzed with rumors. My sudden resignation had thrown half the team into chaos. The other half was frantically updating their resumes. I was already sitting in my new glass-walled corner office at Apex Solutions. The view was clean, open, uncluttered, like a hard reset. At 9:00 sharp, Harrison King stopped by, cup of coffee in hand. He had the air of a man who'd already been through 6 crises before breakfast. Welcome to Apex. Loren. Ready to make some noise. I smiled. Already started. He laughed. Good. You'll like this. We just acquired Pinnacle Marketing's West Coast division. You'll oversee the integration, decide which of their employees stay and which don't. Performance-based, I asked? Always. He sipped his coffee. Keep it professional. But don't be afraid to cut dead weight. Dead weight. I almost laughed. By Tuesday morning, Ethan's name appeared in the preliminary employee list from Pinnacle. So did Rebecca's. When the official email went out, I could practically hear the collective panic from across the city. Adzece, patruzeci și șapte, m. An email popped up in my inbox. From Ethan Rivers, subject, congratulations. Hi Lowen. I heard about your new position at Apex. Congratulations. I look forward to working together during the Pinnacle integration. I believe my experience on the Patterson account could be valuable to your team. I read it twice. Lips twitching. He even CC'd HR to make it look professional. My reply was short, polished, and cold. Thank you. Ethan. We'll be conducting comprehensive performance reviews of all Pinnacle staff. Please prepare a full portfolio of your accounts and client retention rates for evaluation. I knew those retention rates. They were garbage. By Wednesday. Rebecca tried a different approach. She had a friend, Jessica Tran, one of Apex's marketing analysts in Austin, messaged me through the company chat. Hey, Lauren. Heard you're in charge of the integration. I just wanted to say, Rebecca's really talented. Don't let personal stuff affect your judgment. Okay, I smiled at my screen. Typed back, I evaluate all employees based on performance metrics. Personal matters are irrelevant. That afternoon, I received another email from Rebecca Lee, subject, request for clarification. Lauren, I hope you're settling in well. I'd like to schedule a quick call to discuss the integration process and any expectations for my team. I want to ensure full transparency moving forward. Regards, Rebecca. She was still pretending it was all professional. I replied, all Pinnacle staff will receive identical guidelines and evaluation criteria. By Friday, you'll have equal opportunity to demonstrate performance. Le. Callahan. Translation: don't flatter yourself. Thursday. 2 p.m. Ethan's evaluation meeting. He arrived in a crisp gray suit that couldn't hide the sleepless circles under his eyes. His tie was crooked. His confidence cracked. Harrison sat in as an observer. I opened the meeting with the same tone I'd used hundreds of times before neutral. Steady. Surgical. Ethan. Your Q3 numbers show a 40% drop in client satisfaction. He cleared his throat. Well, there were transitions. The Miami move. The reorg. That was 8 months ago. He floundered, papers shaking in his hand. Rebecca and I have been developing new strategies. Rebecca's not in this meeting, I said evenly. This is your performance review. He blinked. Lost. All right. Of course. I watched him stumble through excuses, buzzwords, and half-formed sentences. It was like watching a tower you'd warned someone not to build collapse, exactly the way you predicted. By the time it ended, he looked small, sweating, deflated. Thank you for your time, I said, standing. We'll be in touch after the review committee meets. He nodded numbly and left without looking back. That evening, I met Harrison in his office. He leaned against the desk, reading Ethan's file. Not impressive, he said. Not even salvageable. I replied, and Rebecca. Her review's Monday. But let's just say her numbers look like they were built on his. Harrison chuckled. I'm starting to see why everyone said, you're the kind of woman people shouldn't underestimate. I smiled faintly. They usually don't, at least not twice. Friday morning. Rumors started circulating. Apparently, Rebecca's husband, Michael Lay, had flown in from Miami unexpectedly. With their baby and divorce papers. Someone had sent him screenshots of Rebecca and Ethan's client dinner photos from Denver, the ones she thought she'd hidden from her own profile. Forgetting Ethan's public one was still up. By lunch, the story was all over internal Slack channels. HR was scrambling to stop the gossip. I didn't say a word. I just worked. As usual. Calm. Quiet. Efficient. That evening, I got a text from Ethan. Please. Can we meet? I need to explain. Everything's falling apart. I stared at the message for a long time before deleting it. I wasn't angry anymore. I was just done. Sunday night. Rebecca's evaluation was tomorrow. She'd already sent 3 emails over the weekend asking for guidance, for reassurance, for mercy disguised as professionalism. Each time, I gave the same reply. All employees are evaluated by identical metrics. No emotion. No deviation. Because here's the thing. I didn't have to punish them. Their numbers, their choices, and their lies were doing it for me. They thought they'd built an empire on charm and connection. But charm fades when results don't back it up. And connections crumble when they're built on deceit. Tomorrow, she'd walk into my office and realize what accountability actually feels like. And for the first time since the Ritz-Carlton email, I'd sleep soundly. Monday. 8:45 a.m. Rebecca arrived early. Of course she did. She was dressed like someone auditioning for redemption. Navy blazer. Pearl earrings. Confidence painted on like armor. She carried a sleek black portfolio under one arm and a fake smile under her breath. When she stepped into my office, she froze for half a second, long enough for her mask to slip. Then she recovered. "Lauren," she said brightly, "you look amazing. Congratulations on the new role." Her voice trembled just a little at the edges. I motioned toward the chair opposite my desk. "Have a seat." She did, crossing her legs. Posture perfect. Everything about her screamed control. But the faintest crack was visible in her composure. "I just want to say," she began, "before we get into this, that I'm fully committed to the transition. I know there's been personal history, but I hope we can keep this professional." "Of course," I said evenly. "This meeting is purely about performance." She smiled in relief. "Good. I'd hate for misunderstandings to cloud judgment." I opened her file, the soft click of the binder echoing between us. "Let's start with your client retention rate." The smile faltered. "Of course, 52%. I read aloud. "That's above average for Pinnacle, but below Apex standards. We require a minimum of 75. Rebecca shifted in her chair. "I can improve." The drop happened during the transfer between regions. I interrupted. "Tone still polite." "Your improvement plan relied heavily on Ethan Rivers' network. As you know, he's no longer with us." Her voice tightened. "That's unfair. You can't hold me responsible for his partnership. Performance is collaborative by design." I said, "Your projections are built on data that no longer exists. Without that foundation, your model collapses." She stared at me, the confidence draining from her face. "You're enjoying this." I looked up slowly. "I'm reviewing metrics." She leaned forward, voice sharp. "This isn't about metrics. This is personal." I set the file down, folded my hands. "Rebecca, the review committee, of which I'm not even a member, will make the final decision. I'm simply presenting the numbers." Her jaw tightened. "The committee meets Thursday." She was quiet for a long moment, and then her tone shifted softer, pleading. "Lauren, I made a mistake. I know that. But this could end my career. Please, you've already won." The words hit harder than I expected, because in that moment, I saw what she didn't understand. This wasn't about winning. It was about letting people live inside the mess they created and realizing there's no shortcut out of it. "Rebecca," I said quietly, "I didn't set this up." "You did. All I did was stop protecting you from the fallout." She blinked, stunned. "You can't seriously think—" "Monday," I said, closing the folder. "We'll notify you of the committee's decision. You're free to wait for HR's email." Her face flushed red. "You'll regret this." "Maybe," I said, But at least I'll be honest about why. She stood abruptly, chair scraping the floor. You're a vindictive woman. Lauren. I met her eyes. And you're confusing vindication with accountability? She stormed out, slamming the door behind her. Thursday. 13 p.m. The committee met. 5 people. None of them me. But 4-0. The decision was unanimous. Rebecca didn't make the cut. Neither did 4 others from Pinnacle. On paper, it was all numbers. In reality, it was justice written in spreadsheets. Friday morning, I was halfway through my coffee when my lawyer called. Lauren, you might want to hear this firsthand. Rebecca's threatening to sue Apex. On what grounds? Wrongful termination. Hostile work environment. Intentional infliction of emotional distress. The usual list. I laughed softly. She wasn't terminated. Pinnacle dissolved during acquisition. She was evaluated for a new position and didn't qualify. Exactly. We're clean. She's grasping at straws. Later, I said, that afternoon. My new Tesla was keyed in the Apex parking garage. A deep, deliberate line down the driver's side. No cameras in that corner. Security shrugged. Could be anyone. Sure. Could be. Monday. A fake LinkedIn account. Appeared my photo. My name. Different headline. It messaged 3 of my industry contacts claiming I was ethically compromised. It lasted 2 days before Apex Legal took it down. Tuesday. My assistant told me Harrison had received a call from a Mrs. Inta, Lee, Rebecca's mother. She'd accused me of seducing her daughter, then destroying her career. Harrison recorded it and sent it straight to legal. He called me afterward. She's unraveling, he said. I know. I replied, you good. Better than I've been in years. Wednesday evening, I got an email from Michael Lee. Rebecca's now estranged husband, Lauren. I don't know if you meant to help, but thank you for those screenshots from Denver. They were exactly what my lawyer needed. You didn't destroy my marriage. Rebecca did that herself. But you gave me the clarity I'd been avoiding. Take care. Michael. I hadn't sent him those screenshots. But someone did. Maybe karma isn't mystical. Maybe it's just cause and effect on a long enough timeline. 2 weeks later, the Pinnacle integration was complete. My nameplate gleamed outside the corner office. The city looked different from up here, clearer. Quieter. Cleaner. Ethan had gone silent. Word through the grapevine was he'd been let go from Pinnacle after missing multiple client calls while dealing with personal issues. Rebecca, according to HR, had taken a marketing coordinator job at a small firm. 60% pay cut. Her mom sent one final email. You ruined my daughter's life. She's depressed. Jobless. Humiliated. I hope you're happy. I forwarded it to legal. They issued a cease and desist. Friday afternoon. Harrison stopped by my office. The Patterson account just called. He said, they want you as their point person. I smiled. That's a $50 million account. Exactly. Consider it your proving ground for partner track. When he left, I turned back toward the window. The sun was setting over the skyline, turning glass and steel into gold. My phone buzzed with one more message. Unknown number. I hope you're happy. You won. Rebecca. I didn't reply. Because this wasn't a game. She'd spent months trying to manipulate. To win? To bend reality until it favored her narrative. Me, I just stepped out of it. Final entry. People think revenge feels like fire. But real revenge, if you can even call it, that feels like peace. I didn't ruin Ethan and Rebecca. Their decisions did that. I just stopped cushioning their fall. Now, I wake up every morning in a condo that's mine, drive a car that's mine, and work in a company that respects what I bring to the table. Living well isn't the best revenge. It's the only one that matters.